Okay, after party. Someone was complaining about being mic is closed or something. I don't.
Yeah, is my mic on now? Yeah. My mic was off for a while.
There was no sanctions by me.
Well, there must have been, because I was trying to share something and I couldn't.
I didn't do anything on my side as far as I know. I could be gaslighting you, but I don't recall.
Yeah, you probably
muting you, because you would be told if I'm
I could understand why you'd mute me.
Oh,
Bradford was tired of hearing me.
No. I'm getting. I'll be honest with you, Ollie. Is I'm getting a lot of there's a lot of finger pointing.
I do have injunctions. I have injunctions.
There we go. You just interrupted me. You see, you just interrupted me. This is what's been going on for an hour and a half, non-stop. You've had the floor for an hour and a half. We've resolved nothing. Everyone's a narcissist. I've got these rules. No one's playing by my rules. Round and round and round. It's not going to change.
Oh, I was writing general things in the chat about what narcissists are and how they are.
Did but it's all about them. Don't bait me.
I'm not baiting you. I'm not baiting you. You're the one who brought it up. So I acknowledged it. Yes, I wrote things about narcissists.
Holly, what's going on is there's a lot of stuff about narcissism, but all we hear from you is injunctions and rules and he did this and he did that. We don't actually hear about you. I don't know if...
What do you mean he did? When did I say
feelings.
When did I say
So why don't you ask something precise? Holly, how are you triggered? Why do you care so much? You're not even dating. You're not on the market.
Relevant?
Why do you care?
Why is it so
I'm
relevant?
giving my opinion. All I'm doing is giving my opinion.
But why do you
it's not
care?
welcome. It's not welcome.
No, it's not welcome because we don't know why you care. What's the button?
Why do I care? I care. I care that Eric is single and Kurt's single and they want to date and they want to have mates and they want to have a healthy relationship. I care about them.
So you think they need your advice?
We don't need to help. You're not asking for that. Yeah. Thanks, though.
Fine.
Okay,
you don't have to take it.
Remember that we've been on this thing for as long as all of us have been enjoying it, and that Holly has a voice and she has a personality.
She does. And we allow.
Oh, she has a voice. She has a voice. She's been using it for an hour and a half.
She pissed me off very early on, right? And I very clearly was like, "Stop! You're pissing me. Not stop, but just so you know, you're pissing me off. Like, let's throw it in." But that being said, I have to say that we learn from Holly by the way that she expresses herself. Okay, so that's her. And
so Brenda, why do you have to defend Holly?
Yeah, what's the apology?
What's the goal here?
Rationally and inculpably codependent. And I don't
there we go.
So Brenda, were you getting triggered thinking Holly was being ganged up against?
I wouldn't call it and also a trigger for me, if you want to use that. When you're triggered, you're like literally in another time dimension. You can't see in front of you. You're so angry and you're so upset that you
That's an extreme flashback.
When you come back, right? You're like, holy shit. When you're like moderately like, oh, please don't use the term triggered. Like that sounds like we are. So it's like when people say, "Are
what's a moderate trigger?" You're pissed off. What?
How about something
annoyed? Okay, you're annoyed. Are you annoyed that Holly is being called out? Or what's the annoyance?
I don't want her to feel bad. Like,
don't worry.
Oh, you don't want her to feel bad.
Okay.
I want to know what she feels. I don't know if she feels bad. I'm actually genuinely confused at why she cares so much.
Holly could take it.
My codependency, obviously. But Adrian, you called me out for something, so I'm curious what that is. Well, you said in general, this is where people get exposed. So I'm assuming you're saying I am now exposed for something. So what am I exposed for?
What did I call you?
We're just asking you how you feel. We're just asking you how you feel. How do you feel?
No, when she was talking, I think when Adrian was talking about exposed, we usually... What were you talking about exposed?
We get exposed to you. We get exposed to this type of, rigid...
No. You said that people get exposed this way for something.
She's clarifying. Adria's saying that.
What I was saying,
in particular, you.
Can you hear me?
I hear you.
Okay, so we get exposed to this type of conversation with you, where you are rigid and you express injunctions and judgments, and we get to work out how we're going to respond to those. That's what I was saying.
Okay. I thought you were talking about, in general, people are exposed for something that they are because we have because Steve has exposed people or said that people in here have been exposed for their narcissism and they run away or whatever. That's what I thought you were talking about.
That might be your, that's your
Yeah,
issue.
that's my
not
interpretation. Okay.
That's the benefit of talking things out, to get these different interpretations, at least somewhat bridged.
Mm-hmm.
But it's hard to do when people are triggered or annoyed or reliving flashbacks. And that's where it's exciting. So
Well, the flashback
Bradford
I
probably
relive is...
got like 5 years of therapy from all this exposure. Or at least maybe lost 5 years of therapy from re-triggering his borderline news.
The trigger that goes off for me is that I don't get hurt from my beliefs and values, and that was in my family. I don't get hurt. So
you didn't
that's what
feel
the triggers
hurt
for me.
here.
Actually, that question, you actually managed to skirt Deep's question. So he was asking you like how you feel.
Yeah, so how I feel is... How do I feel right now?
Can you repeat the question, Deep?
Yeah.
No, just let Holly
I can't
finish.
describe
Let
my
Holly-
feeling.
let Holly-
I can't describe it. I'm having trouble describing it. I feel
Let Holly
fear.
finish.
Oh, okay. I have fear, terror,
Fear?
negative emotions. Yes, fear.
Anything more precise?
Let me look at the emotion wheel. Sorry.
No. Don't intellectualize it. Feel.
Well,
But
I have my chest feels heavy. You want to hear what I feel in my body? Because right now it's feeling in my body.
Sure, that's better.
My chest
Keep
feels
going.
heavy.
Heavy.
I feel stress in my arms. My body feels tense.
Tense.
So.
What else?
Oh, this is probably shame. I feel
Maybe
shamed.
shame.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Anything else? Keep going. Freestyle.
I feel fear. Fear of rejection.
Fear of rejection.
Yeah, and yet in the fear of rejection, I feel adamantly, what's the word? When you're, well, the word stonewall keeps coming to my mind, but what I mean to say is,
Stonewall.
when you're belligerent, or, when you take a stand, when you dig your heels in and you don't budge. I don't know what the word is for that.
Stubborn?
Stubborn, thank you. Yeah, I don't know if that's a feeling. That's not a feeling.
But it's in your consciousness, you felt.
Yes.
Or that idea.
Yes.
Stonewalling, stubbornness, dug in. That's in relation to fear. Fear of rejection. Fear of what? What else? Anything else?
I know it's not a feeling, but I feel misunderstood. That's not a feeling, so...
Sort of. Yeah, not exactly, but
yeah.
Good. You feel misunderstood. So what? Does that trigger shame? Does that trigger...
Yeah, I suppose that triggered shame and fear, and I really want to look at the emotions wheel, because I will be able to...
I don't know if Bradford's going to give you permission.
Too bad,
He's
Brad.
in charge now.
I think
it's very important.
I need words.
I think it's important that Holly tells us how she feels.
Yes, and I need to look at the emotions wheel to see that.
No, you need to feel it, not look at it.
I feel it, but I can't identify the emotions to you.
But Holly, you asked permission to describe what you were feeling in your body physically first, and that led you to, those physical feelings are shame. I think that's what Bradford's encouraging you to do.
Oh, to follow shame down the path?
No, to the same way you had a breakthrough with what you were feeling by. I
feel humiliated. I feel ridiculed. I feel disrespected.
Humiliated.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Disrespected.
I feel ridiculed, disrespected, so that goes with anger.
There you go.
Ridiculed. Oh, you got the chart. That's why.
I feel, yes. Yeah. I feel, what else?
Now you're getting 5 years of therapy in one session.
Yeah,
for
thank
free.
you. I appreciate
What
it.
the fuck?
Also, I feel scared, helpless, frightened,
Helpless.
persecuted.
Now, isn't this a cognitive dissonance? Does anybody see Holly as helpless?
Yeah.
She feels it.
And her tone of voice, Holly, you're saying these things, but your tone of voice is very calm, very monotone. So you're saying the emotions, but we're just hearing a different tone in your voice.
Well, I'm good at hiding it. I'm good at hiding it, my dear. I can hide my shit.
But you got very upset with everybody else, and we can hear the tone of your voice.
I feel threatened. I feel threatened, nervous, and exposed.
And you're starting to sound angry.
She's changed because this practice has uncovered those feelings, so she feels more vulnerable. And then if we pin her down more, we can expose it more. But it's an interesting observation that she's fully neutral.
No, that's my. I've been doing this all my life. If you think I sound neutral,
you've had all years of all these therapy and all this stuff. It's taught you to be.
No, this is my childhood.
Yeah, but
my childhood taught me how to be like this.
The anger when you were talking back to Eric about being, the leader and stuff. That was very clear.
Yeah, I can get some fierce attacking.
That wasn't being hidden.
Nastiness, yeah.
Yeah, you don't hide anger that well.
Yeah, no, I don't. Well, you guys are telling me I'm hiding because I'm calming down, but I'm still
Holly, you're very good at
heart palpitation. Go ahead,
Holly, you're very good at expressing anger, right? That's good.
And judgment. But it's all these other emotions that you're actually feeling, which are real, but we're only getting the anger.
Yes.
That's the disconnect.
Yeah, because I have to protect myself.
From abandonment, where earlier you started this meeting where you want a family, you want community, but if you're going into communities of people that you don't know, and your energy is, I must protect myself, you're pushing people away while you're diving into communities.
Yes.
And that's your whole life story.
Yeah.
And you haven't uncovered that in all those therapy sessions twice a week or 2, 3. You should fire those people.
Well, I don't give anyone a chance. I don't give anyone a chance. I mean, I know how to behave myself.
Because you're terrified. But why are you terrified? What's the emotional wound of the past that's keeping you in terror? Which I'm arguing from today is lack of mercy. Because that was a way to protect yourself as a child. But also lack of mercy, lack of forgiveness keeps you trapped into the past trauma. It's almost too easy of an answer. Because it's hard to be merciful to yourself and others. That means you have to give people a chance. You have to risk being abandoned. You have to risk being humiliated. You have to risk getting Bradford calling you out and trying to disable the emotion chart.
All right, so
Holly,
you're asking me. What are you asking me now?
Holly, if you hadn't, Holly, I'm still here, right?
Okay.
That's the difference.
You haven't abandoned.
That's good.
I haven't cut you off.
That's good.
I haven't shut anything down. I'm just sitting here listening to you, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're not being abandoned.
I don't trust.
Hey.
Yes, but he's here. He's trying to point out rupture repair because he's had therapy and he's probably therapized his mother, the BPD, so he knows how to emotionally contain somebody else and forget himself.
Thank you, Dave. That's true, yeah.
I'm still here, and that's a ISTDP technique. I'm still here. You're projecting you're being abandoned. But look at me. I'm still here. Bradford's still here. I'm about to leave, but Bradford's going to stay with me. And maybe Eric.
Or you're going to kick me out of your group.
There.
There you go.
I don't know whether
That's-
Deep's ever
and
kicked
that's
Worried that
anyone
I'm
out.
going to kick you out of the group.
Yeah, or you
The
Deep's
can.
never
irony
kicked
is-
I'm
anyone
asking
out.
you.
Yeah, and you wonder
Yeah.
why I came to like I tried to band-aid this. This is no fun when people feel that way.
It's
No,
not
but it's
fun,
this
not-
but
is
if you have to
therapeutic.
go
This
for it.
is what
It's
heals.
this is the healing. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not fun. It's healing. This is actually the most therapeutic thing that we've done in the last 2 hours, in my view.
True.
Yeah.
Oh, here I am.
Very.
So you're saying there's a wound that's, yeah, I have no idea what it is.
You don't need
Because
to.
what's
It's
going on,
pre-verbal.
your
It's
abandonment
just knowing
fear.
that I'm, it's just knowing
Okay,
what
so
I'm,
you know that what's going to happen, Holly, what you're thinking is, I'm going to be abandoned, I'm going to be abandoned. And so you push and push and push and push and push until people abandon you.
Yeah.
Right? This group, you've pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed for an hour and a half and kept going, and Bible verses and on, and we haven't abandoned you. That's a big
We're
lesson.
not kicking you out. We're not leaving.
We're not kicking you out.
Definitely
No one's
getting
cutting you
annoyed,
off.
but it's okay.
We're still here.
They're still
And
here.
I
Yes.
don't know why those words.
And this
make
is
me
when I
cry,
want to
but
take a
they
break
do.
next Saturday. Now I have to maybe continue. That was
No
pre-meeting,
break for
but-
you, Deep. You're in too deep.
I feel very confused. I
About
feel confused. I feel totally confused. I feel confused that you're here. I feel confused that
we didn't leave.
I was so,
Yeah.
that I was so triggered,
Emotional.
and emotional,
Passionate.
and out there.
Aggressive.
Yes.
For the first time, you've tried all your tricks and none of them worked.
Yeah, we didn't slam the phone down and walk away. It's okay. You know, we're all fuck ups. We all got here
Oh,
for
yeah.
a reason.
Completely right. Absolutely. I think we showed some mercy, maybe, Steve?
No mercy.
Oh, no, we did.
Pure
I think this is merciful.
No, Kurt, you were very crude in the comments to me.
I
That's a
was
secret
getting
teaching.
really. I can't express it publicly like Bradford could, and I was passive aggressive.
Okay.
So
I feel-
Holly,
Yeah. So I guess I feel unsafe. That's the thing I felt. Have been feeling unsafe. Unsafe.
Yeah.
for how long? In relation to what?
Men.
Oh,
Well, people aren't safe.
especially men.
Mm-hmm.
Highly dangerous. Highly evil. Their whole goal is to destroy women.
Stop.
No, this is me trying to distort Holly's fear. This is a technique.
I still see
Therapeutic
the same
technique.
four men here.
I grew up with one man in my life. I grew up with one man in
Adria.
my life. Go ahead.
I'm
Adria.
not probably pulled over for talking into this phone. But I was going to say that another thing I noticed that has happened before is kind of a fear, at least on the part of the male people in the group, except maybe for Bradford. Hopefully I'm saying your name right because I can't see it on the screen. Is to put like any bass in your voice. Like actually, Holly was using more bass to shut you up than you were,
Interesting.
Ooh.
right? Like when
what's
she was
that
talking.
observation?
When you want people to pay attention to you, you just speak in a deeper tone of voice. But everyone, Iman and Eric, when we were in that conversation with Holly, I did notice that they very kept their voices like in a nice high tenor. It was always very pleasant. And so
Pleasant.
I registered that as fear as well. Maybe it was Bradford was saying like everybody was cowering.
Well,
But-
there's that codependence way of making it all okay. I mean, I tend to do it myself. Is raise my voice because it's
Maybe.
safer. It's I can show that I'm frustrated and yet not be threatening. I reserve the threatening lower voice for the "stay the fuck away from me" or "I'm gonna punch you in the face" times.
Yeah, if our voices get like that, it's
But
too late.
Holly
You
was
know,
using
it's not.
that.
It's not going to be
My
civil.
Yeah,
Point is that
because
you
I
were
was
actually
dealing with
having
men.
it used on you,
Yeah.
but you
Adrian
wouldn't do it
noticed.
back.
No, we can't. It's not allowable.
Because
It's not
you
safe.
can't, because
Right.
I'm a woman.
The unspoken rule of male-female arguments.
Yeah.
Men cannot
I would use all that
escalate.
base chat.
No, I've had actually, like, when it got to that level, like with my ex or something, like just my voice changing was enough for her to say I was abusing her or that I was going to hit her or accusations like that, just
Oh,
from the
absolutely.
change of voice. It
Yeah,
wasn't
There's a
even
real
like any
sensitivity to
action.
tone.
Right.
Yeah, I've
Right.
been put in jail for that
So
much.
let me give you a real world experience, Adria. I was with my wife in Hartford to take her to see her family, and this is
You're
this is a
losing
working
your
class
audio.
neighborhood.
Go
Can
ahead.
you hear me?
Yeah, just don't go away from the mic. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. So this is not this is a working neighborhood, and we went to pick up some food at a kitchen, and we were behind the restaurant, and this woman drives up real fast and starts honking and goes, "Move your car." Like, why? I'm parked here. And she said, "Do it again." And I just started, then my bass got heavier and I started yelling at her. And my wife had a fit. She just started screaming, "You're not supposed to scream at women. You're not supposed to talk to women like that." And all this
Social
stuff.
injunction.
Anyway, we go over her family's house, and her cousins were like, "Yeah, you should have cussed her out. Next time we'll be there, we'll kick her ass for you," whatever. It just got into a drunken thing. But what the guys are saying is, yeah, you don't yell at women, not in this country.
Yeah, because here, unfortunately, perceived
would
aggression is enough. Excuse me. Perceived aggression is enough for it to be, I
Right, but
felt
you didn't
unsafe
have, you
is
didn't have
enough.
to yell. Holly wasn't yelling.
No.
Yes,
let
but-
me-
Not once did she
Ho-
yell.
Hold on. What I'm saying is that when talking with women to that point, is we've been kind of conditioned in this society to keep it to a certain level and try to not go over those boundaries because there are like legal ramifications potentially if the person feels a certain way or
Right.
feels unsafe. That's
Whereas
enough.
the reverse
That's
is
enough to
not
get
true.
handcuffs.
Can I
Yeah,
say
the reverse
something?
is not true.
Yeah, because, men generally have more muscle mass and could kick most women's behind. So, yeah, you got to be careful about your rage.
Right, and
Absolutely, around women.
we've softened
not
the world
about
to a
careful
point
about
where women
rage.
can go
Women
slap up to men and
overreact.
still get away with it.
Yeah, women
Hold
will
on.
Well, yeah,
hold on.
yeah, when a
That's-
woman,
that's a physical.
if she
no,
eats you on,
that's
yeah,
a
that's not
physical
good.
thing.
It's
Holly,
Holly, being
I'm not buying that. I'm not buying that. I think what
Well, if she
again,
eggs you on,
Me
yeah,
neither.
she won't-
Me neither.
yeah,
I'm not
but that's
buying
what you're doing. You're egging. What you're doing is egging us on, right?
Yeah.
And the 4 guys are sitting here. We're being very well behaved. But if this was just Deef and Kyle and Eric and me at a bar, one of us would probably have a knuckle sandwich by now.
Can you
It's
explain
It's just
that?
that. It's just that.
That
it's
one went
just that
over my
you're-
head. Could you explain that?
Knuckle sandwich, smack in
to-
the head.
to
right?
me?
I mean,
With men
No,
Are you
communicating
talking
with each
about
other,
to
there's
me?
always
Because I'm
No.
going to be loud now. Who are you
No,
talking about? To?
No, Holly.
No, what
Holly,
she's
before
what
you
she's-
get
Oh,
loud,
you
what
guys
you're
would do
saying
that
is
to each
that
there we
other.
go.
the
See,
same conversation
see, your voice
took
goes up an octave.
place
Yeah.
amongst men.
Oh,
I kind of don't
If
get it.
you
With
were,
men-
then
with men,
there
there's-
would have been there would have been a physical exchange if the way you engaged in this conversation, if you were a man. That,
Right,
that
men-
yes.
men-
but not
men
as
always-
you personally.
when men
see, I don't get that because
Okay, so let
I
me-
grew up
Because you're
with
a
both
woman.
women.
Can I help?
Because
I
you're a
grew
woman.
up with women.
Can I help?
Right.
I grew up with women.
Wait,
The only man in my
What-
family.
But your
person was my
behavior
father.
triggers men wanting to punch each other.
Can I help?
But men have to hold back.
It's making
Brenda.
me violent.
That's my point. You don't have to jump from A to Z. All I'm saying is assert yourself using your
No,
voice.
men don't have the layers. Men just
no,
go to
it's not. It's
violence.
not.
You need to buy a
It's an
layer.
on-off switch, not a dial. It's not a
Correct.
dial. It's an
Well done.
on-off switch.
Sorry, Aman, I can't see you. I keep forgetting that you're there. There's 5 of us. 1, 2,
So
3,
Holly.
5 men.
Yeah.
Ali,
Sorry.
seeing something as, think about it as absolutes. Remember absolutes from mathematics? Right? Those little brackets, right? And it made it absolute, which meant it couldn't change no matter what you did to it. That was the value, right? So when you say something like men are built differently and stronger and then more aggressive in nature, or can be more aggressive in nature, you know,
No, I didn't add that third line, but go ahead.
there's a whole bunch
I said in
of
general.
stuff wrapped up in that. That's simply, first of all, it's over a boundary of like, you know, normalcy, right? There's no.
I'm not giving women permission to
Wait.
harass
Let
men.
me
Go ahead.
finish. Let me finish. That sentence in and of itself. I understand your perspective on it. I do. What you need to understand is that all these people here have different perspectives, and some of them are men, all of different shapes and sizes and colors.
But this isn't about understanding.
No. I didn't say that it was. I'm just trying to help her, like to Bradley's.
I know, but that's your trigger.
No, I'm not
Or
triggered.
partially your annoyance.
I'm not triggered. Not annoyed.
Your annoyance.
No, I'm trying to help her understand because she said I don't
She doesn't.
understand.
She
But
didn't
it's
ask
not
for
about
help.
her understanding.
To Bradley's point.
She actually did ask for help, Adria. She said, I don't understand what Bradley said. And I said, can I
Right.
help?
She can just sit with not understanding.
That's
didn't
part
say
of
help me
her problem.
understand.
She needs to
we controlled
not understand.
the conversation?
We were doing so
Bradford
well.
can finish. I mean, we can. I know something went over my head. I can't remember what it was. But,
I'm trying to
We were
explain
doing
it, but
so
I've been
well.
interrupted constantly.
yeah. So there. Yeah.
Well, ask
So-
Adria if you can talk. Because apparently
Can I have a second here?
Put your hand up and ask for permission.
I'm not upset. This isn't personal. Bradley said we would have had knuckle sandwiches because of the way you're talking. She said, I don't understand. I said, can I help? And then I was trying to help. But you know what? It doesn't matter. Like,
Yeah. I got that. Thank you. I heard
all
that.
I'm saying is that the way that like
Holly
those
said
comments,
thank you.
this person is this, like those absolutes about people. Sometimes, you know, first of all, there's no absolutes in people. Everyone's gray. There's a black and a white, and everyone lives in the middle. So they land differently with people. That was his whole point. That's it. Right.
Well, we were talking about the danger of a man. Okay, Eric was talking about his wife being mad at him because a woman approached
He
him
raised his tone.
and he raised his tone to her, and she got upset. And
Okay.
so I was expressing that there's a perception that men have more muscle mass and they could kick our asses. So
And why did you throw that in?
why did I throw that in? Because
Why are you defending his wife?
well, I'm
Where
not
the
really
cousin
defending.
said
I'm not really
defended
defending
him.
I'm not defending what his wife did to him. What I'm saying is there's.
But you're making an argument
Yeah. What I'm saying
that's for his wife's argument, aren't you? So why do you care?
like if Eric, what size were you compared to this woman?
You're still
Do I
making an
know?
argument
How is that
for the
relevant?
wife's
Doesn't matter.
position.
Who cares?
Why do you care? Why are you defending her?
Okay, well,
How do you
all right,
feel?
so I guess I'm putting I must be thinking that I would be upset if my husband yelled at a woman.
Why are you putting yourself in the
so
wife's shoes?
I am doing that, yes.
Yes, why?
Because I think it would.
I know. It would have pissed you off, blah, 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 but why are you putting your mind into the wife's shoes where his example wasn't about the wife's position?
Well, all right, so I'm trying to, why am I putting myself in her shoes? Oh, it must be because of a prejudice and because of a sisterhood or, trying
Maybe.
to understand her perception and why she was so
Yes, but
triggered by her husband doing that.
that
my-
wasn't
Woman,
my
Eric's
husband-
meaning.
rolls up and
So
is
I'm trying to think of
abusive.
what I would do if my husband were to do that in front of me to a woman.
But that wasn't the context of Eric's story. Your mind automatically jumped into, what would I do if my husband did that? That's an unusual leap.
Yeah, okay.
Right, and so the whole point behind that story was that this is an unusual situation. It's out in public. It's with some stranger directly came up and started a conflict with me out of and I was just like, whoa, who is this chick? Who is she to boss me around? I don't know her.
I would be
But that
triggered
attitude
because.
does not exist. Hold on, let me finish.
Sorry.
That attitude would not exist in like a corporate America setting with a woman ever. There's no.
You're saying if you were to go off. Yeah, yes, that's what I'm saying. It's like.
And so part
I
of
think
that.
I would be scared. I think if my husband were to go off. Go ahead.
So
You're still
part of
jumping
what-
into your story. Don't jump into your fucking story, Holly.
Right.
Stay with
So
Eric.
yeah. So let me just finish real quick.
Stay in his story first.
It's
with Eric.
that experience is kind of more universal, right? As a man, you don't go around losing your temper at women generally, especially in public, especially in a workplace, and even out here on a Zoom setting or whatever. You just don't. So I'm not really quite sure what Adria was kind of getting at, and also what you're kind of getting at, Holly, about being man enough for taking the lead. And we've been trained to be just total gentlemen and not get in trouble.
Not just
Probably
trained. There are consequences that we've been taught.
There's
Consequences
consequences also.
This is from society.
So
yeah.
here's what I'm picking up. Here's what I'm picking up. The men in this group are angry.
Absolutely.
Angry
Yeah.
I posted that way back. I said,
Holly,
Chris angry at me.
Holly, if I
Hey,
can ask you for your
don't steal
opinion.
Bradford's story. Yes.
You
Holly,
stole mine. You
You
stole mine,
interrupt,
Brad.
Holly. You're interrupting. You're interrupting.
Go
The
ahead,
men
finish.
in the group are angry. Okay? We're just not yelling and screaming and jumping up and down, but I'm starting to, my tone is changing because I'm sick of being interrupted and I'm sick of you hijacking the meeting for 2 hours.
So get angry.
Because I am angry and I'd like you to
How
tell
long
us
do you
how
want me to
feel.
hold the silence?
How long do
Escalating.
how long-
You're constantly interrupting
So
everyone.
you
Okay,
No, I'm
constantly
not.
interrupt.
He finished what he
Yes,
was saying, and
you
now
just-
I was
no,
taking
you-
the opportunity to speak.
Holly,
And now
Holly,
he's
Holly,
trying to
saying,
set a
Holly, you're cutting me off.
Holly.
No, you're baiting me, Bradford. You're baiting me because you finished saying what you were saying,
Now, this
and then
is
I
now
came in
more
to say something,
Holly.
and now you're accusing me
Now
of
you're
cutting you
angry.
off, and I didn't cut you off. I didn't cut
Now
you
we
off.
can go
You said-
sideways. Check
you said
this
the
out.
men are angry, so
Holly,
we can go on from
it
there.
feels like you're a little terrified of getting abandoned or sanctioned. Do you have that
No,
fear
I'm
in your
not.
system?
No, I don't feel fear of being abandoned.
You don't feel that at all. Why
No.
don't you
So
feel
look
it?
how quickly
Do you feel
this
anger?
escalates and de-escalates. This
No.
escalated and so what you do, Holly,
No,
but you
because I
manipulate.
don't like your
you
tone. I
shut
don't
me
like the
down.
way you're
Right
accusing
to the
You're
me.
shutting
I
me
don't
down
like
and
that.
getting angry.
Now Brenda's
See?
getting
Now
annoyed.
we're meeting a
Maybe
level like
triggered.
this.
Brenda,
I can
sit
hold my
and
own.
take it.
I can hold my own.
Brenda,
But
sit.
Oh,
Brenda's
you're a
getting
bully.
annoyed.
Holly, you're a bully. You're a bully,
And
Holly.
she's making weird body language movements. I don't know what that means.
Sit and take it. Learn from it.
And she's had wine. She has alcohol, right? So why is she getting triggered?
So Holly, you talk very calmly and very peacefully. Holly, you talk very calmly and very peacefully when you're talking about what you want to talk about. And if I tell you what I'm feeling or what I'm going, you get very angry and you shut me down and you want me to shut up and you don't want me to have my feelings and you go and then you accuse me of a whole lot
I
of
didn't
stuff that
hear
I
you
haven't
say
done.
your feelings. I heard you say the men in this room's feelings. What about your feelings,
I'm a
Bradford?
man in this room.
Talk about your.
I'm a man in this room.
Okay, so you're angry too. So talk
He's
about
been
that.
trying to
Yes,
talk
I'm
about
angry
his
now.
feelings.
Okay, talk about that. Talk about it.
No, he
Why
has.
is talking about it?
I am
So-
angry that I have wasted now 2 hours going round in circles, you hijacking this, we getting nowhere, and the men are not allowed to express their feelings. Because if I do, as a man in this room,
I think you're standing up
out.
here as judge, and all the
interrupting
women are
again.
listening to you do that, and it's
Constantly
bothering
interrupting.
me. It's bothering me.
Holly,
Guess what? I'm angry too.
don't interrupt me anymore, please.
Go ahead, finish.
This is why this has gone this way. You will not let anyone have their feelings. Your feelings are the only ones that matter. That's what's going on. It's made me angry. I speak for the others, but it's up to them if they want to speak as well. But that's what's going on here. And all we've done for 2 hours is prop you up, prop you up your feelings and do all this sort of stuff, and it's gone nowhere. We tried to get you to express your feelings and we get anger, and that's it. Everything else gets said, but that's in a monotone. So we get one emotion, anger, but we can't express it. That's not fair.
I haven't not given you permission to express your anger.
I did, and you held me down. It wasn't until I actually had to really put my foot down that I was allowed to actually say how I felt, because you didn't want to hear it. You were scared of it. You didn't want it. You didn't want it, right? And again, the fear of abandonment, I believe, is kicking in, but no one's abandoned you. But this is what happens.
No, I don't think I'm fearing abandonment right now, but I feel unsafe. I do feel unsafe.
See, this is and that's why the last thing I heard from Eric was that he was asking me what did I mean, if I can interject that. And this is what I meant, Eric. When you told Holly to be quiet, That's all that I meant. And what Bradford just did, that's all that I meant. Taking your space back from someone who's not giving you any. And if that requires some bass, I didn't think it required, any screaming, but it required like asserting your space. And so that's what I was talking about.
Yeah, but Holly is asserting dominant masculinity energy here,
Yes,
and
yes.
she will match that. So it's pointless. You're just going to get into a
She's also
whose
fast.
dick is bigger contest.
She has
When I
good
say-
impulse speed, so it's not just the tone. She can.
Yes.
She's fast.
Okay. But my point is, at some point, somebody has to put some respect on you, right? Like when I see someone bigger than me, I'm not going to like buck up.
When will
on
that be?
Wait,
them.
someone
They're
needs
big.
to write that injunction. Someone's got to put some respect on you.
Respect
I
on
like
your
that.
name.
Somebody's got to put some respect on you, or something.
That's impossible.
That's a rule. Atria
I
rule.
think that her rule is that men should not talk. That's it.
That's a
I don't think
simplification.
so.
Maybe that's
I'm
true.
asking.
No, men are not allowed to get angry. Men are,
No, that's not true either.
not allowed to get angry, and they're not allowed to express it. But Holly is allowed to get angry and express it.
Holly,
This
have
is
you
your
ever-
first meeting. Anything they try to say, she shuts it down.
Holly, have you ever
Not the
taken a
anger.
personality test or had a group of people that you knew take one in concert with yours? Have you ever done that? Like any of the
I don't know what personality tests you're talking about. You could put it in the link.
There's a
No,
myriad.
I've never taken a personality test.
There's a ton of them, and
What kind of,
they're kind of
like Myers-Briggs?
yeah, right. And there's,
Yes, I
there's
have.
other ones. There's other ones as well. And hey, and here's what's cool about them. Not because they get all these acronyms and you learn like, oh wow, I guess I'm introverted. I'm an introverted driver or whatever. It's cool. But more importantly, if you can do it enough and you learn about, even if you do it by yourself, and then you learn about what yours are, and then you know what the other kind of groupings are, it may help you understand when you see somebody. And I'm going to point out Eric only because, I can. But for instance, let's say yours is, and I don't know, right? But like, let's say it's like extroverted, whatever. Well, Eric or several other people on here that are male might be more introverted and show their emotions in a different way, and their personality comes through in a more coveted way. So the blanketed statement, again, the absolute of men are speaking softly and they're not angry. Eric his personality, style, and trait might be so that his anger, you may never see it because he's not going to be as expressive as somebody who's that way. Like, so it's just an idea, but
Or it requires a lot more to see it.
It does, but it's super helpful. It is. And to give you, yeah, I'm killing the intensity. Fuck off. Whatever. So, as a very young, out of college, my doctoral program, I had to go into meetings a lot, and there was this guy who was so smart, right? And I kept running into his office and being like, hey, I have to talk to you. Oh my God, I have this idea and whatever. And every time I walked in, he would like curl back into his desk. They did this personality testing with us, and I found out that he was like an introverted introvert. So he ended up like closing his door to me because I was like a cartoon character, and he was like, go the fuck away. Learning that made me understand that I couldn't just come at him with my energy and my thoughts. I had to literally like tone back my channel to his frequency. And I don't know, like I'm just pointing it out because I think that some of that, especially with the comments, it might help because we don't really know everybody here other than how we learn every week. But the little bit that we do know is that just because someone doesn't outwardly express the way you do doesn't mean that they're not expressing. Right? Brad is, let's call him Brad. New Zealand, not New Zealand Brad.
I think you're doing a very, very good impersonation of a codependent, Brenda. Well done.
You're making it all okay. Make it all okay. It's all good.
Tamp it all down, make everyone
all
happy,
okay.
and we'll all go, and we'll all go.
There's an opportunity for learning in every moment. And this is where I feel like no matter what, like there's more about people that we know that we'll ever know. And
Utopia.
I'm a hippie, not a codependent all the time.
Semantics. So now things are.
I like her kitchen. It's a nice kitchen.
Deb, looks like
Yeah.
you have a lot of physical reaction. But you
I've
haven't
run
done
the
yet.
gamut.
Got a lot of feelings there, Deb.
Absolutely. I was
Come
taken
on,
to
let's
tears.
have them.
No,
Come
I
on.
was. Well, I was brought to tears with Bradford's "I'm Still Here." I was really moved by that, and it.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely.
Beautiful.
It was in some, resolution way. I thought it was, and I've been sitting here listening to Holly's feelings and expressing her feelings and watching it all go down. And I've been sitting here like this. It's been extremely uncomfortable. But
Why?
well, and trying to keep my mouth shut, right?
You don't have
want to
wine?
I
You
want
don't
to
have a
soothe.
shot?
No wine, no shots, tea.
You should have. But okay.
That
So it's
would
hard
be
for you.
self-soothing. I'm trying to heal, right? I'm trying to for me this is practice, right? That's why we're here, to be uncomfortable, to be knocked out of our comfort zone. And seeing these conversations and experiencing these conversations, this is where by now I probably would have interjected and I would have self-soothed. And I'm probably
Like
doing it
Brenda.
right now. Say again?
She did good, Brenda, killing all the.
So I've been trying to hold perfectly still, listen to everybody's point of view, and absorb it. And Bradford, I have to say, you're a spirited young man, and I appreciate your energy. I really do. I really
Young.
do.
Well,
It's
Deb,
it's
Very generous. Very generous.
It's refreshing, right? Because it's another point of view. It's another lens. Because if it's
Well,
we're
why
just
did you
the
have
same
to-
week.
Why'd you have
I'm
to be
sorry.
so frozen?
Me?
Yeah.
I feel like I've always been that way. And I've just recently really started recognizing it in myself.
So
I
were
freeze.
you reliving a trigger or something where you just freeze and become invisible?
No, it was listen, it's a lot to absorb. It's a lot to absorb. And I was trying to listen. And sometimes when I listen, staring at this little screen right here. And I know I feel like I'm frozen, but yeah, I've been accused of being able to sit sniper still. So I don't know why.
Debbie is used to this, so that's why she's
Totally
so calm. It's her life
Totally
and her
used-
work.
This is what I do.
Right, in a courtroom.
Except this time I didn't have to write it all down. So
Yeah,
it
she's
was
actually
kinda
happy.
nice.
She don't have to transcribe it.
Oh, this is really nice. Like
I could just watch the show. This is so relaxing. I don't have to
Listen
keep
to
up
her.
with the transcript.
Yeah, so we're all gonna pitch a game show to the network called. It's gonna be like one of those divorce court type Judge Judy shows called
But-
The Narcissist versus the Codependent. And
Yes, I
Debbie's
can
gonna be typing and
honestly
Dee's gonna be the
say,
host.
I can honestly say in court, when I witness all this going on, the men will kill each other and they'll walk out and they'll shake hands
They're
and
fine.
they'll talk in the hallway. The woman who gets into the argument with all this, she will not look at him. The next time they meet, she won't even say hi. And the
There's no
guy
bounds. Yeah, there's no boundaries.
and the guy goes over to her, and he tries to speak with her, and she's like, "Get out of my way, officer! Escort me out of the courtroom.
Officer.
I don't feel safe." Yeah, officer.
Pulls out the gun. Yeah, officer.
I do a better New York accent than you do, Debbie. Oh my God, you're just beautiful.
But I see it that the women are really internalize it.
But you see it in the
Where the-
playground at school.
Yeah,
the
women-
girls at recess time will go out there and they'll just bitch and bitch and bitch. The boys will go and play rugby at the football field, belt the shit out of each other, go back to the classroom. That's how it's always been.
Happens all the
That's how it
time.
works here. That's it. Yeah.
It actually happens in co-ed situations more than in.
Yeah, I went to an all boys school, which probably explains more than you need to know. So, but that's
Supposedly, that's one of the good.
I have some problems with the overlap though of these worlds of the women do this, men do this. So when you take the women's, if we're using these huge generalizations here, I'll just continue. The women's way of, you know, no holds barred, say anything, express anything, you know, tell them you're going to kill them, and you throw that into the world of men where you say that shit, there are consequences, and women can just knock down any boundary and say anything and be just knock down, drag out, and they expect the men to just be like, yes, dear. It's fucked up.
It's fucked up. That's your summary.
That's the summary, because I don't know what to do with it, because I was in BPD relationships where she would just say anything and cross any boundary, and it was supposed to be okay, and I was just supposed to be like okay with it, you know, like, oh well, it's all okay now. Like, no, you fucking said this shit. You know, there's no, you don't put the toothpaste back in the tube. Fuck that.
Fists, but you can't act out the violence. Yes. Fucked up. Mercy. Unfortunately. Adrian made it home. Can you give us an update of your trip?
Ooh, how'd you go with Mummy Dearest?
I probably look crazy, but let me turn this off. It was interesting. She was like so I had 3 friends come and help me because I needed her to be in her public persona and not the private one. So she was, you know, she behaved okay, but she's, you know, she wanted to sit down and talk. And so I said, okay, you know, let me start the packing and then we'll come talk. So I sat down and she said, you know, I don't know why all of a sudden you just want to, you know, change your relationship with me and, you know, cut me out of your life. And she said, I know. So I have a kidney transplant. And when I first had the transplant, when I was in the hospital, she made a big show of offering me her kidney. Are you frozen?
No, we're here.
Okay, good.
It's a little cold here, but it's not too bad.
Nice humor.
She made a big show of, I'm going to give you the kidney. So I was on dialysis, and the idea was that I'd be on dialysis maybe for a year until, you know, we did everything with her kidney. In the end, she changed her mind. So I ended up having to go on the cadaveric list for another like 4 years. I was on dialysis for 5 years. It was great. So she's stuck on, I didn't really say anything to her at that time. I just was like, okay, I'm watching you, like something not right with you. So we had a conversation about it years later. So that's why what she's stuck on to is like, oh, is it because I didn't give you the kidney? Mind you, I had this kidney for 14 years.
Oh, look, it might have something. It might have something to do with it. I mean,
it may be in there.
Maybe it's there.
It could be, yeah. It's probably in the mix, but 14 years. So then she says, "Well, I know something happened between you and your husband, and the last thing I remember is that you called me and you told me that he tried to choke you, and so then I spoke to him." And I asked him, what's going on? And he said, right. And he said that he didn't choke you. So I
believed him.
Yeah. So he said he didn't. So what are you going to do?
So what's the problem? So there, I didn't react. I just said, you know, that's probably the issue. And it could be that you just have a little issue with empathy. But I have the right to decide how I want to deal with people who have a little problem with empathy. And this is how I'm deciding to deal with it. And then she said, but I don't understand. What did you want me to do? So I just told her, you know, my friend told me that her husband had physically hurt her. I would ask her, what do you need me to do? What can I do for you? You know, let me come get you. Right. And I have no reason to call her husband, right?
Yeah.
Check. if he had hurt her because she's my friend. And so she was like, oh, okay.
Huh, you never thought of that.
So after that, I just said, if you want to talk another time, she has no way to contact me, but I said, maybe we talk another time. And so I just went and finished packing up. And then I left and I said, be well. And she's like, you can't throw away your life. Where are you going to put all this stuff? Are you going to put it in storage? Who's going to help you unload it? And I was like, I'll figure it out. Thank you.
I'll go call my ex-husband. Yeah.
Right. We live together again,
Yeah.
So that was it. It was no more drama than that. And she let me go. That's why I bring people to create buffer.
Very wise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, we call that a human shield. Very clever.
I had three.
You need that with those sorts of people, and a clearly marked exit and no sharp objects around the place as well. Congratulations.
Thank you for asking.
That's fresh news. Yeah. And you gave us a teaser in the comments, so that was my hook. So that was a little break from all the earlier heat. Do we want to go back to that?
No.
Because I think Deb has a drink, so she's okay for more freezing.
Inoculated.
Still there, Deb?
Say again? What?
Are you still there?
I'm still here. No, I had to take I needed a.
That's one of my favorite Stephen Sondheim songs. I'm Still Here.
I'm still here. It's
a wonderful song, and I posted the link to the Shirley MacLaine version from Postcards from the Edge because I thought it was appropriate given the context of that scene where it's actually the daughter's birthday, but of course Debbie Reynolds' character has to do the song, and of course she hasn't prepared anything. Of course she turns around and goes, "I'm still here in D flat," and off it goes, and it's a fantastic piece of work. So enjoy.
I will look at that. I don't know. It was
Wait.
It was like there was a beginning, a middle, and an end. It's a very Dave. You said it's a technique.
Which one?
When he said "I'm still here," you said it was I thought you said it was a training.
Rupture repair. So that's an important technique with reliving flashbacks. So when you get triggered, you relive it. If you get abandoned, or you leave, or the other person leaves, or you never finish the rupture repair, then it just cycles. So Bradford mentioning "I'm still here" and staying here, or pointing that out, is a technique that therapy uses, or coaching, to break the cycle of abandonment.
And the
Yeah, but I don't have abandonment issue here. It's my fear. I want to run away. I don't feel safe. What are you going to do with that?
That's the same thing. You want to run away. That's you leaving. That's you
that's my abandoning myself. Am I abandoning myself if I feel like I'm running away from abuse?
You're running away from the trigger of abuse. If you stick around and realize there's no heat, then the flashback weakens. Adria.
I think it's also dissonant, right? Has anyone seen that? That video of the woman in the field in Central Park, where the bird watching guy is like telling her to put her dog on the leash, and as she's moving toward him and menacing him, she's saying that she feels threatened.
Yeah. Flashbacks of my ex-wife. Yeah.
And I kind of feel that in this, like, I can see feeling threatened. That's not the problem. But the problem is if one feels threatened, then one could bark, right?
One could back away.
But you're usually barking while you're backing away. And so I don't feel any backing away. Like I kind of feel a pretty upfront aggression, which is fine. I'm not putting a kind of a negative label on that, but it doesn't go with being threatened for me.
Well, if you're a dog threatened, you are going to bark. I mean, that is a natural animalistic drive that we have.
That's a,
Well, I
that's
think
a
Adria
tri-
was just mentioning there is a dissonance of behavior and description. That's all.
Well, how am I going to
Not
back
as-
away? I'm on a Zoom meeting. How can I back away?
No, it wasn't. It was
Without
just an
leaving.
observation.
No, you could leave. I could leave too. That's, just a click of a button. But we didn't.
My issue isn't
talking.
fear of abandonment. It's fear
It's
of men in general.
well, that's pretty. Half the population is men, so yeah, that's
Yeah.
So
lot of
this would
baggage.
be,
That's
this
what it
would,
is. But I'm taking up too much time and space.
but this would also be maybe one of those conversations. And let me see if I'm drawing drawing a straight line here. Is that, Holly? This would be one of those times where you make a definitive statement. I fear men. Where you would give yourself mercy and do some inflection and follow that path as to why you fear men, and give yourself time, reflection, and mercy, and work on that part, as opposed to bringing forth and communicating and emoting something that's deeply rooted and hardwired in you.
Well, I think there's a fear of women in this room as well, from the men.
But say that one more time.
I think there's a fear of
last?
women in this
Okay.
room from the men.
Oh, okay. Because when
I
you
think
just
there's misogyny in here,
I
and
don't-
there's
I don't get
misandry.
that.
just hold on,
I'm
guys.
not-
Please,
I'm not
please,
scared.
please, let me just finish this thought, because I have a really hard time making complete thoughts, and this is really hard for me. That you just made a definitive statement again, where you were,
I spoke about, okay, no.
your
The
fear
first
of-
Deb is
time,
having
let
trouble
me
finding
let me
words.
finish. You said, I also have a fear. You feel that the women, you said fear of women, and you said it definitively, and then you kind of like a little aside of the men in this room. So
yes, I'm inviting the men in this room to talk about their own misogyny, if it's
well,
there.
Holly.
no, you were
Deb?
talking to me. You weren't talking to them.
Misogyny isn't
I'm talking
we're
to them right
talking to
now. I'm
But
talking to them right
Holly,
now.
but you're trying to
Deb
bait them,
said
and that's where
she
I
has
get. And
trouble
that's where I
Sorry,
get
Deb.
pissed.
talking.
Go ahead. I didn't mean
No,
to.
that's where
interrupt.
I get pissed, because you're literally right now trying to bait them, and
Well, because no, I'm not trying to bait them, but
you
you're,
just
Holly,
did.
you're
Yes, you
Deb
did.
is
You
trying to
made a
finish
definitive statement,
hard
and
language.
then you dropped off, and that's a bait. That's a bait, and that's probably the crux of everything. It's the bait. Just make it, engage in conversation, but don't bait them. That's uncalled for. It's out of bounds.
I disagree. Bradford called me out. Now I'm calling him out.
Now, I want to take this moment to honor Deb getting agitated and finding words very easy when she started moving.
I'm shaking.
Because she started all careful and chosen words, but once she got some energy, the words came out naturally. And it was beautiful. And I know there's judgment, like, oh, I
Oh
crossed
yeah,
the line.
I like a real.
Some
Do you know how bad I
self-hallucinating
want to
Deb
say I'm
right now.
sorry right now?
That was
Sick.
beautiful. Look, Bradford, we're enjoying it. Adria, a lot of people were encouraged by this new boundary or new self of yours that you risked stepping out and being spontaneous. How many shots did you have?
I didn't. Come on, that's not fair. Now you're trying. You know what?
I think I need a shot.
Where did shots come into this? Was this on the? See, I don't follow the. I can't
It's not in
be
the chat.
present
at all.
and
Yeah.
follow the side conversation. I don't engage
So
in the
it's
side
the liquor cabinet behind you, Deb. Just go into the liquor cabinet and grab
Yeah.
whatever you need. Help yourself.
And
So
pour
is
one
this
for
then, like,
us.
Wait. So Bradford, my very first
mine
meeting, I accidentally, I'm a Zoom idiot, and I set my camera up, and there just so happened to be all the liquor bottles were behind me, And Deef called me out. He's like, "Wow, we're gonna have the after party at Deb's house." And I
That
went,
was a compliment. That was not a call out.
I know that.
You're getting a little bit triggered, Deb. It's okay.
I was
Okay,
embarrassed.
it's okay, Deb. We need to go back and talk about misogyny in a minute.
Yeah, we're all
Yeah, we haven't
just
finished on
chomping at
that
the
one
bit
yet.
to
So,
see how we're
so you just keep
misogynist.
going, and we're gonna steer back to the accusations of misogyny.
Yeah, you just keep going, little lady.
Stop.
She's
Now you're
holding
doing it to
herself
her.
back.
Say again.
You're holding yourself back, Deb. Just let it out.
No, I'm fine now.
Oh, you don't have anything else to let out?
Oh,
Well,
okay. Well, I do because Holly called me a misogynist.
Oh, I thought it was me.
Oh, did you call me? No, I think I know. I think I've been. Yeah,
We're all a misogynist.
Everyone.
Just
There's a
Everyone.
lot of misogyny.
Everyone.
Everyone.
It just evenly all
Everyone.
spreads around. Everyone. There's just a lot
And
of
the cat.
misogyny.
The cat's a misogynist too.
Yes.
cat. Yeah,
If he's male, yes.
My gorgeous mid-century lamps back here, they're misogynistic too. Got a very masculine chair here from our friends at
Yes, everyone knows that.
Herman Miller. That's misogynistic too. Yeah.
That's I'm gonna steal that actually. That's
Beautiful.
That's
I've
misogyny with
wanted
real
one my
good
whole
taste
life.
right there.
Oh yeah, this is mid-century. This is the Mad Men set right here. There you go. See? And you know what? You
I'm gonna
know,
go
talk
get a
about
cigarette.
misogynists. If you want to talk about misogynists, it's Mad Men.
That's where it all comes from, yeah.
But I think that was a very loaded thing to say. Number one, because it was
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
because she's equating not being afraid of women with being a misogynist. So number one, that was a wrong definition. And number two, the question was actually about her, misandry, and she deflected it by calling you a misogynist.
Yeah, it was a kind of like, no, I'm not, you are. It was like, I'm not, there's nothing wrong over here. The problem's over there. And the problem may be over there also, but that's not the point of the discussion.
Holly, what are we afraid of?
I don't know. You have to tell me.
No, it doesn't work like that. You've accused me of being afraid. Tell me what I'm afraid of.
I don't know.
You have
Women.
to tell me.
Women.
You're making the accusation,
you have to
right?
prove
You're
that
making
you're
the
not.
accusation. You're making an accusation. Please.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of comments from the guys in here. It sounds like there's a fear of women. Yeah.
Yes, and that was the I love the
It's a
comments about take
suggestion.
leadership
It's a
earlier.
suggestion. So if you guys want to reject it, fine. Okay.
Okay.
That would be
Well,
gynophobia.
yeah, I do.
That's called
I do reject it.
gynophobia.
Oh.
It's not called misogyny.
It's called what, Adria?
Gynophobia.
Gynophobia.
Okay.
Fear of.
Well, there's
fear of.
there's androphobia, gynophobia, misandry, and
No, there's
We're
misandry.
just
on your part.
intellectualizing it. Words. Yeah.
Yes, we're
Oh,
all
you think
Just
that they're,
dictionary
oh, you
says
think they have
hatred of
gynophobia?
men.
So
You think they have,
gynophobia is fear
Right?
of women.
yes, gynophobia is the fear.
I have gynophobia.
Misandry and misogyny is the hatred.
What
Like
Deb
So,
has
Holly,
gynophobia.
what are you
I have
afraid of?
gynophobia.
I have fear of pretension.
What did
The
you
only
ask
thing
me,
to
Bradley?
fear is fear itself. I think one of your wonderful presidents said that, didn't he? The only thing we have to fear is fear itself.
Dislike
he was a
or fear of
narcissist.
women.
Yeah, well, they usually are.
Deb's hooked on fear of women. She has it.
Yes,
Women are scary.
we're
But
very
beautiful.
scary.
They are scary. I actually feel comfortable around men. I feel a lot more comfortable about men. I mean, I find women are so emotional and they have all these stories sometimes in their head and they project it on you. And I feel men are more sensible, level-headed. They will talk things out with you, except for the narc.
Right. I was about to say.
Except for the narc. But I just sometimes feel females, I have to like feel them out sometimes. Like I'm not sure, you know.
So I have a question for the men. So I have a question for the men. So
Yes,
do
little lady.
you have
Why aren't you in the kitchen?
do you have
Where's my dinner?
Brenda was.
Do
Why
you-
aren't you? What's
do
going
you-
on?
do you
Yes,
feel
you may
do or
have a
do
new
not have
ironing
these
board.
ongoing stories in your head? So if you're in a confrontation, or you're having, you know, not a battle, but having a conversation or an argument,
A
and you-
spirited discussion.
a spirited discussion, but then you're not in that physical spirited discussion, do you play out a scenario in your head? I know that I'm capable of it, and I've started my own mantra of I will not have a conversation in my head. They're only when the person is in front of me. Like that's a
Just any conversation in your head later, or what is the point of the conversation in your head later that you're asking about?
if you are in conflict with a loved one, and you're not living together, it's a dating situation that you don't understand a behavior of theirs, and so you're kind of running scenarios in your head.
Sure, occasionally, I guess.
Occasionally.
Maybe to try and
The risk that
replay
you.
what
Sorry.
replay what they're saying or something, or try and figure out like what might they have meant, or what did I miss, or what happened, or how did we get there, or maybe
I mean,
something
it's
like
a problem if you overthink it.
I guess a really
I
good word,
tend to
Eric.
ask.
That's what I mean.
I'll ask the question. I think that's the most important thing. You can intellectualize it as much as you want and use as many words as you want, but at the end of the day, at some point you've got to eyeball the person and say, hey, listen, what's going on here, or what's this, or what's that? And you've probably gathered it quite good at that. But I mean, at a certain point you can't guess what people are going to say or do.
You're a straight shooter. You say it like it is. Like I
Yes,
like,
exactly.
I'm
that. But
clear.
don't fall for that. Those labels are really incredibly meaningless, because even the most ostensibly straight shooter can fool themselves and say what they think is straight 1 minute, and so don't like propagating those labels is a very problematic thing,
Okay.
because my crazy BPDX, that was her favorite thing to say was, I just say it like it is. I don't play games. I don't, and she didn't play games. She was just so fucking crazy. She didn't know that there was a game that was on. Like,
Yes, but
because
I think Deb's question.
Carl's right. It can vector into abuse very quickly. Like the line between me being very assertive and setting a boundary, and then taking the next step and being abusive is quite fine, and it's not somewhere I would want to go. But there is a limit, and you have to know where that is. And I think that's the idea. Just take me as I am. I'm just going to be. That's dangerous. That's danger. That's too much. You've got to have some temperance, right?
You being the person who appears to be a straight shooter, or the person that you're talking to. Do you have a shut-off valve? So if you...
Oh, shit, yes. I have to at work. I mean, I was at a conference in Melbourne all week, and there were several hundred people at the conference, and I had been very vocal in my opinions on LinkedIn, on social media, about certain payday lenders and that sort of thing. I have a real problem with that. And I ended up at a tail party, and the guy standing right in front of me was a guy that I'd absolutely shit canned on LinkedIn. And I called him. I said on LinkedIn to my 8,000 followers that you are a dodgy payday lender with the digital front. And there's Michael standing right in front of me. And I went, hello, Michael, how are you?
What's up?
And he said, I don't know whether to hit you or buy you a drink. And we bought each other a drink. And I said, look, but yeah, I know where the line is in 9 cases out of 10. I hope. I've never been in a fight. I'm not a physically violent person, but I have strong opinions, and I do stand my ground where I can, when it's not dangerous.
See, guys respect that. Guys will respect someone taking a stand, risking danger, stating an opinion.
And it's deep. It's really interesting because you can see mine. It's Bradford Kelly. If you want to go into LinkedIn and cyberstalk me, go right ahead. But you'll see I have very strong opinions about my industry and about the vertical, and I express those, and I have to then eyeball those people sometimes, and they don't like it. And some of them are very senior. Like one of them is the CEO of part of the Reserve Bank of Australia, and I've taken him to task. Right. And then when he and I saw each other on Wednesday, he went and ran away. I wasn't abusive. But I was assertive in my opinions.
But then you said, and then you ran away?
No, he ran away.
Oh, he ran away.
Yeah.
Did you feel good about that?
Not really. I mean, no, I don't get any joy from it. I get no satisfaction. It's like he's a decent fellow who's just doing his job and towing the line, and I get that and I understand that. But there are things. My hot button is bullshit and lying. So when I'm being gaslighted in a corporate world, I can see it a mile away. And one of my clients pays me to unspin the bullshit spin that gets put into certain things and then blasted out correctly. So I have a real sensitivity to that. And what he's trying to do is bullshit me. And I won't let him. But I get paid. I get paid to call it out. So I do it. But in a constructive, gentle way. Does that make sense?
Yes.
It's funny you said that because I feel like I came out of my narc mom home with very strong opinions also. I think yours are, pointed to your industry. I understand that. But I realized, at least among northern normal people, that I don't know if it's a gender, race, class, US thing, but it wasn't acceptable for me to have those very strong opinions. Number one, because it could hurt people's feelings. And I didn't learn that in my home, right? You just said, you just critique people to do it. And it's not acceptable for me to be hurting people's feelings, both because I'm a codependent, so I don't want them to feel hurt, but also kind of socially, it was like the way to become a pariah. So I had to change some of that behavior.
Well, I think it's for women. My view is that if I was a woman, I would get a very different reception. I'd be called a loudmouth bitch, but because I'm a bald-headed guy, I get, a completely different. And I'm a white cisgendered male. I have privilege, and I have privilege as a result of that. I think it's a very valid point. I think if you did what I did,
it's funny how we get that
different.
critique. You get that ability to critique really well because you're always being picked and critiqued, even though you direct it correctly. But
I think for me, it's just I stand by my opinions. I back them up. But I have the humility that if I do ever make a mistake, I will back down and say, whoops, But I think, a woman will get a very different response, very different.
So this started with Deb asking a question about post-fight, how guys replay things.
So I've been practicing this for a while, but I noticed, and I wouldn't act on the replay, but I noticed, and it might be COVID related and not being able to have, regular one-on-one conversations for 15 months. That, I don't know, maybe it's the brain trying to find, something to do or, on the sidebar, even though I'm, cooking dinner or I'm, working in the yard, that these conversations started popping up. And, as I transitioned into this life of, to date, not to date, and is it self-doubt? Is it fear? I don't know. Why does the brain want to go to negative negative scenarios. And I really have been trying to really concentrate on no, brain, you're not allowed to do that. We're gonna reroute the conversation, and we're gonna reroute you over here. If that makes any sense. You could just stop the conversation. Like stop.
Well, this is
so
the
unfair.
problem. Last week I gave you the roadmap for female aggression, and people don't remember or can't apply what the teachings are. But one style of female aggression is reputation destruction.
I know that. Yeah.
So men, when you start destroying reputations, you can go to fists if it crosses the line, but if the man is standing up for taking a position, that's respected. If there's an argument. If it's just pure character assassination, that'd be fighting words from a man's perspective. But from a female perspective, the female bullying strategy is character assassination. And it doesn't have to be backed up. And often it's behind your back.
And often it's believed. It's believed.
Well, yes, because they're going to flying monkey before you get to defend yourself, yes. So women are generally paranoid about social connection because of this constant fragility. So your brain goes overdrive because your social status among women is always uncertain.
Well, and it's probably on overdrive too, because
pandemic gives you less information. Yes.
Well, I've also just removed myself completely. Like,
so you're out of the gossip loop. Yeah.
Oh,
so you're blind.
I said no more.
Yeah.
And I have to say that it's a more peaceful space, but every once in a while, you get that zinger or that ping, and somebody has reached, just enough to, they know they're trying to get under your skin, because they don't like the beta fish in the fish tank that isn't moving. They're the people that want to go up and tap on the glass to see if they can agitate the fish. Because they don't understand that a beta fish just wants to be left alone, and it wants to be alone, and it wants to hold perfectly
still. But you're uncertain.
Oh, I'm absolutely. I have to say
so
that
you're dangerous. By being unknown, you're dangerous. So you're exposing yourself by not being somewhat seen or.
Well, it's almost like their brains can't figure out what I'm up to, so they want to fill the void. They want to fill the void, and they do.
Yes. It's vicious.
It's enough to make you want to pack up and move somewhere else, and I refuse. I'm not going to give in to that. I'm not going to give into it. Because it's not going to be any different anywhere else.
Well, I mean, either become more accepting and find a way to shortcut the inner critic and the inner questions, or do what I did and find good anxiety drugs.
or find new relationships, find healthy people. Don't get caught up in the don't get caught up. As I went to a girlfriend's house last night, and she said, I'm so glad you're out of that. Why? How could you, she said, I sat through one conversation and all I kept thinking was over and over again, who would want these people as friends? And it's so true. And I'm disappointed in myself that I was part of it.
Anxiety producing. Yeah.
It's so yes, I think my generalization about, as Debbie said, not, men are a lot easier and more comforting to be around than that nervous female energy, almost trying to use echolocation. What's the extra heartbeat in the room? Is this a threat? Is that a threat? And if it is, how can I smoosh it down?
Okay, and I just want to say, maybe afterwards when you're done. Sorry.
What was that?
I didn't catch it.
I was going to interject, but I realized she's not finished. So I'll wait till she's
No, I was finished, and it's just your microphone cut out. Like it broke up what you were saying.
Oh, I'm in the van. Let me come out. I was gonna say, I think that's your opinion, that's your experience. I'm good with that. But I do want to say that I think I got cut off before when I was saying that studies show that a lot of the things that you're talking about in terms of women's behavior is displayed in co-ed situations and not necessarily in single sex situations. It's kind of like a survival of the fittest, right? Men are important. It's the same society. Men and the male gaze is important, so that's what they're fighting over, basically. And when you take that out, you can have some different types of interaction, which is supposedly like the basis for single sex education, especially in high school for girls, like all these books to talk about. But that's what
I was just gonna say that was a great thing about a women's college.
That it allowed you to concentrate on your education and the relationships, and took the male presence out of it, and the distraction and the probably innate competitive nature, right, Crystal?
Right.
Right, and it changes your relationship to women completely. Like I don't have those types of relationships with women, except my mother.
Oh, that's interesting.
I would argue that it's escalated in co-ed. But women
Male or
still
female?
are probably both, but females are probably more catty because it's chasing after supply. Guys are already sort of posture even without women being around. It's just, alright, a certain age, Pierre Exo said that like 20 to... After 30, guys start. But in the 20s, there's a lot of posturing, even without women. But women, I was listening to a self-helpless podcast. So it's 3 comedians who are people pleasers and codependents. And they have different topics that talk about insecurity, anxiety, blah, blah, blah. In one podcast, they talked about their insecurity around each other, where they weren't judging each other, but they still had thoughts in their head like, oh my god, I'm the youngest person here, I should be further along these other girls. And they were thinking this, where there was no cue or judgment from the other 2 people. And they each had their own insecurity delusions. Way beyond inner critic. It's just a general state of, I don't know if I'm safe here.
So could that also be defined as competitive? That it's just some people are more not that
it's competitive, but it's based on insecurity. Everyone's just unstable.